And welcome to another episode of the Skiing is Believing podcast, brought to you by Ski Racing Media. Alan, we've got a few more news items that have come through in the last couple of days to cover in this one.
Yeah, we have indeed. Yeah, couple of them. All of them. What we don't really want to have to say, but they need saying.
Yeah, a few on the more sadder side of things, unfortunately, but we'll try and keep it upbeat and look at the positive side of all three of these news items.
Yeah.
And we'll start with last week's news that came through that at the age of 99, legendary coach, mentor, friend and father Erich Sailer had passed away. He transformed a tiny rope tow hill in Minnesota, Buck Hill, where the likes of Lindsey Vonn learnt their trade. He knew Lindsey's father for, I believe, 62 years or something crazy like that. He was a kind of a pioneer for the likes of Barbara Ann Cochran and Sarah Schlepper, who we've had the pleasure of speaking to, and I think they've mentioned the contributions that Erich had on their career, and even more so in recent weeks. Of course, the most synonymous is Lindsey Vonn, and Lindsey's posted this week just how important Erich Sailer was in her development.
Yeah. He's got. He'll be sadly missed as a person.
Yeah.
Obviously, he won't be active now, but he will be sadly missed as a person by many people.
And there's so many people in particularly the US ski team down the years that have links to Sailer and his work. I believe he is of Austrian descent, and I've seen a video circling down and doing the old yodeling, which was a really special moment. Christina Kosnick, another one that he's shaped the life of through all age groups. From starting with people at 10, 11 years old all the way up to the World Cup Tour. The most recent one is Paula Moltsan, who grew up around the same hill, around the same area of Minnesota. And unfortunately, that is going to be simply a huge miss. And if you do want more information on it, you should head to Ski Racing Media, because Peter Lang's post on it, released just a few days ago, was a really great way of summing up some really key contributors that I have mentioned already there, but even more if you want to go and check that one out. Always difficult to discuss these kind of things, especially when it is kind of such a legend and someone that has been influential to so many people. So he'll be dearly missed. Secondly, this is very new news to us. You'll probably be listening on Tuesday afternoon by the time this one drops. But yesterday afternoon, or this afternoon as we record here, we heard the quite surprising news, Alan, that at the age of 31, after just over 100 World Cup starts, the Norwegian racer Rasmus Windingstad has announced his retirement.
Yes.
Your first thoughts on that one? We'll get into what he's posted and his record, but to me, this seems a little bit oddly timed, pre-Olympic.
Yeah. There may be underlying reasons, but he was doing okay. He didn't seem to have any problems fitness-wise. It's a shock. I mean, they all come to the stage where you say, well, that's it, I've got to retire. Yeah. But when you're not expecting it, and when they're not, 31's not old, then it is a shock.
Yeah. And he's
a miss, a big miss as well.
He was very influential, sort of similar age to Kristoffersson. But you think about the success that has come through that Norwegian team. Steen Olsen, McGrath and Haugen have kind of, pushed him out of the World Cup squad ahead of last season.
Yeah.
To have someone like Windingstad, so strong, quite consistent, to be out of a World Cup team was a shock.
Yeah.
But I'll read what he's posted this afternoon on social media. 2003 to 2025. For 22 years, ski racing has been the biggest part of my life, the one thing that trumped everything. I owe a great debt to a lot of people, the team, and the ones who always believed. I will be forever grateful. Writing this shit is hard, but I'm certain that even though I might have some more in the tank, it's just not enough. Believing that you're capable of achieving what your mind wants requires believing in the work you put in, and for the last year I didn't have the motivation to do what is required. And I think that's normal. 12 years on the team, 22 years of pushing myself, that was what I had to give. 3 podiums, 1 World Cup win, quite a few national titles, and becoming an Olympic athlete. Those are 3 things most people would be proud of, including 12-year-old me. I got to race with probably millions watching, and that still blows my mind. Thank you to everyone. P.S. I might share some more details, insights, and personal challenges in the future, so stick around if you want.
Yeah.
In regard to people continuously following his social media, that is.
Yeah.
So that's what Rasmus posted on Instagram this afternoon. 108 World Cup starts, as he mentioned, 3 individual podiums and 1 win, but he'd also got a team parallel win in 2023. Won the 2019 Alta Badia Parallel Giant Slalom, one of very few parallel Giant Slalom World Cup winners, and also had 2 individual GS podiums in Kranjska 2019. He was second and third in Palisades Tahoe in 2023. 6 World Championship starts, 2 Olympic starts. He took a team bronze in Beijing at the most recent Olympics, and much earlier was a World Junior Championship medalist, 14 World Cup top 10s. And his last World Cup start was under our watchful eyes when he scored at 21st in Hafia.
Yeah.
I just realised as I was preparing this that the only time that I may ever meet Rasmus Windingstad was on his last World Cup start.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. Very good.
In terms of the timing, because the Norwegian Sebastian Foss Solivar had announced his retirement much earlier in the summer. And they're kind of, as you'll hear later on this week on the podcast, a real generational shift for the Norwegians.
Yeah.
Those kind of more experienced guys, a little bit older than Kristoffersen, to be fair, but they're kind of making way for this incredibly strong youth setup, slightly earlier than men have been retiring.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think it's a lot of it is down to the fact that they know there's continuation. So they're not having to fly the flag longer than they would do normally.
Yeah.
They're happy to say, well, hand over the mantle to someone else younger. I've done my bit, I've enjoyed it, and it's time to move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to finish with a piece that has very recently come through, and that is that Cyprien Sarrazin, in an interview near home today, told L'Équipe, the French newspaper, that he won't race this season. I'm just going to pick a few bits from the article very recently published by Neve Italia, an Italian skiing company that publishes articles very consistently about the biggest ski racing news. I'm just going to take a few bits from this. He met some median Devoula, a station near his home where he grew up, and said today in an interview that we will not see him compete in 2025-26. He still needs a lot of time to fully recover before returning to skis and being able to seriously train. Of course, 8 months now since the terrible crash in the training run on the Stelvio at Bormio, where a lot of people were fearing for his life. The long delay in that pre-downhill training run. Everything is fine, especially neurologically, which I think was very good. When I heard this news, I was thinking, he said, he mustn't forget where I was a few months ago. It's important to know how to enjoy the good times, like being here at home. And obviously I'll do everything I can to return to competition, but I'll take the time I need step by step, as this is crucial. He admitted that he had actually thought about retirement, explaining that he can now focus on the goal of returning in 26, 27, and can still dream very clearly about the home Olympics in 2030.
Yeah. I'm disappointed that he's not coming back. If it's only for the fact that he provides tremendous competition for the rest of them.
Yeah.
But he knows himself better, and I'm probably in a way I'm glad he's not coming back. If it's too soon, then he shouldn't be coming back.
No.
And the thing is, if he came back now, he'd be still having it on his mind about what happened. Whereas if he's another 12 months, then he's got time to get it out of his head, and I'm sure an athlete of his ability and intelligence will sort of come back stronger, and we'll be glad when he does.
Yeah.
And happy to see him back.
Yeah, great words. Of course, we've seen that Kilda is back on snow, and that could well be a return in the first Super G of the season from Beaver Creek, Colorado, which would be amazing. Of course, it's been an extra season for Kilda than Sarrazin.
Yeah.
With the injury picked up in January 2024. So that's another good piece of news coming out of this week. Down in Chile, I believe, the men's Norwegian speed team camp begins this week, as well as the tech team will be joining them soon, but unfortunately without Rasmus Windingstad. It is 2 months to the day, Alan, that the season will begin with the women's Solden Giant Slalom.
It is, yeah.
Let's end it with a positive note.
Yeah, and like everybody listening, and I know we are so looking forward to it. Hopefully another great season.
Of course. I'm sure we're going to have season 3. It will be for us a blast.
Yeah.
Let's hope. We have got the first few New Zealand Cup results coming through from Australia. And whilst we've got a little bit of time left, I will just run you through those from overnight. Last night, this is in the women's race, Helena Undheim Overlander from Norway got the win ahead of Australia's Phoebe Hearden on home snow, and Alaska Speedy came through for third for New Zealand. For the men's side of things, Christian Borgnage continued his incredible form down in Oceania, winning 0.38 of a second ahead of Louis Moulin-Schulte on home snow for Australia, with third position going to Japan's Seigo Kato. So they're the first of 4 races we're getting there this week. A giant slalom. We've got a giant slalom tonight, and then a couple of slaloms to come later in the week. Action kicks off again in Chile on Saturday with a giant slalom from El Colorado and a slalom the day after from La Pava, and then it will be time for the national championship events from Coronet Peak, New Zealand, and we'll have more coverage on that next week. Not too far away now from really settling into the New Zealand and South American Cup competitions, and of course we will give you all of the key rundowns for those. Okay, I think that is everything on the agenda. Just a little quick update with a few crucial news items coming through in the last few days. Another emergency podcast we thought was worthy and certainly required. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much to Ski Racing Media for their continued support throughout the summer series. And we'll have an interview, of course, back on the Thursday schedule later in the week. So stay tuned for that. It's a very good one that we recorded earlier today, in fact. So there's one last thing to say, and that is Alan's thing to say. We will
ski you later.
Ski you later.